The Toronto Maple Leafs have a huge decision to make for the trade deadline, as well as we have an update on David Kampf's injury, and I'll break it all down for you coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. Before we get into it, just want to say that 80% of you guys watching this aren't subscribed, so if you're big NHL fans like all of us here on the channel and you're looking for a place for daily NHL content, look no further, go down below, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,000 subscribers. We'd love to have you along the road with us. But with that said, let's get right into the first topic of the video today, which is Kampf injury update. And as we take a look at from David Alter here on Twitter or X, whatever you want to refer to it as, he says Keefe says David Kampf will not be available this week with an undisclosed injury. Mentions that the MRI found something that usually takes a couple weeks to recover, but it's already kind of been a week with the break, and they say, well, he will be day to day after that. And obviously, I mean, this sucks for Toronto. This is a guy who's been great for this team all season long. He's been a great defensive forward for this Toronto Maple Leafs team, plus centering that fourth line, third line at times. And I mean, this is a big blow to take. I know he's not a big star player or anything, but he's one of these guys who, in my opinion, maybe one of the most underrated players on this Leafs team. He's a guy who's going to go out there. He's going to, do the things off the stat sheet, whether it's taking away the puck, whether it's, making great passes up the ice. And he's great in his own zone, defending. One of the best 200-foot players, in my opinion. A great defensive forward, a guy you need on your team. And obviously, the big part about David Kampf is the penalty killing. He's such a great penalty killer. Every time he's out there, he's shutting it down out there, clearing the puck out of his own zone and killing off these penalties. And I really hope that he gets back soon, because you never want to see a player go down with injury, especially a guy like David Kampf. Earlier this season, he was a healthy scratch, and then he fought his way back into this lineup and was playing great when he fought back into the lineup. And now going down with injury, hopefully he can recover from this and get back to playing the hockey we all know and love from this guy. And as we take a look just as his stats this season, like I said, 8 points, 46 through 46 games this season. He great on the faceoff dot as well, with 51.4% from the faceoff and 16 blocks and 40 hits. And like I said here, obviously, you don't want to see anybody go out in the NHL. You don't want to see injuries arise, but it's a part of the game. It does happen, and I do believe that Pontus Holmberg, guys like this will step up during his absence and really fill that role. But hopefully David Kampf can get back healthy, get back into the lineup here once he's feeling healthy, and just keep playing the hockey he has been playing, because this is a guy I think you need in the playoffs, in those tight games. He's going to be there. He's going to be providing such great defensive help to his defensemen, and I really hope that he recovers from this injury and gets back soon. But let me know down below in the comment section, what do you think about David Kampf being out? You think it's a big deal? Well, let me know down below in the comment section. But with that said, I'm going to get into our second topic, which is the Leafs have a huge decision to make. And the decision they have to make is about Chris Tanev. We have reported here just a couple days ago, about Chris Tanev, how he was almost traded to Vancouver, and, we're multiple days removed from that now, and the trade to Vancouver still hasn't arose. So it is a guy who I think Brad Living and the Leafs who are going to be taking a look at. And as we take a look at a report from Jonas Siegel of The Athletic, he writes, there is still plenty of chatter surrounding Maple Leafs and defenseman Chris Tanev. The Flames are seeking a second-round pick and another asset for Tanev, but the Leafs don't have a second-rounder to trade. And that means that Toronto is either going to have to give up a first or probably not get the player, because other teams will meet the Flames' asking price. And as we take a look, in the end, he says, this is from Jonas Siegel, he says, in the end, Treliving's crew will have to determine A, whether they can meet the price for Tanev, B, whether they should meet the price for Tanev, and C, whether they should commit to Tanev beyond this season. And as we take a look at Chris Tanev's stats here, obviously this is a guy we've talked a tremendous amount about on the channel. So far this season, 9 points through 46 games with the Calgary Flames, with 135 blocks, 17 hits. Obviously, this is the type of defenseman that all Leafs fans want. He's the stay-at-home, hard-nosed, grit type defender who's going to, provide such a momentum boost in his own zone by breaking up plays, by blocking shots, by laying hits. And I know, as we seen here, the asking price is a second round pick and an asset. I know the Flames are kind of building up their assets right now so that they can either use them in trades this offseason, use them in trades at the deadline. And I really think, if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs in this situation, you may have to overpay to bring in Chris Tanev because you can't meet the second round their asking price. They don't have one to trade. So if that's what they're asking for, you may have to offer up your first in this situation. And with the salary situation as well, I believe his contract is 4.5 million for the rest of the season. So if you're going to give up a first round pick, I think salary will have to be a little bit retained from Calgary in this deal. And if you trade away your first to bring in Tanev, I think you need to secure this guy up for, a multi-year deal as well, maybe a 2-3 year deal to kind of solidify this stay-at-home defenseman at the blue line for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I think it is something that we will see, them go after here at the trade deadline. A lot of people are expecting them to go after defensemen, and I think Chris Tanev is going to be one of those names that they do go after. But the only thing that worries me here from Toronto's side is that other teams have this second round pick, have the asset to offer back in return to get Chris Tanev to Toronto. So it really comes down to, is Brad Treliving willing to part with a first round pick to bring in this guy, or will they try to go another route and just try to offer them assets, whether it's, a guy like Nick Robertson or something like this to kind of sweeten the deal up a little bit so that Calgary can, it's something that they are willing to do rather than, having this guy come into Toronto and, for nothing and them having the retained salary in this situation. I think that there will have to be a little bit of an overpay for Calgary even to, consider this trade with Toronto. But I do think it is worth it in the long run here. This is a guy who you need for a playoff run. He's a guy who's going to be back there. He's going to go to battle for you every night. He's a warrior. He's going to block the shots, like I said. He might not be the top scorer or top point getter on this Leafs team, but in these deep playoff runs, in these playoff series, you need defensemen like this, guys who are going to shut it down, guys who are going to block the shots. And Toronto does have a couple guys there right now that could do it. A guy like Jake McCabe has been playing phenomenal for this Toronto team, and Chris Tanev is another one of these guys that I think that they could bring in. He could immediately play top line with Morgan Rielly, let Morgan Rielly kind of do his work, move the puck around as a puck-moving defenseman, and he can just stay back and just be a stay-at-home defenseman for this Leafs blue line. But it'll be really interesting to see here because, like they say here in this article, there is a lot of questions surrounding this, whether, they should commit to a trade like this, whether they should give up this asking price, or whether they should just look at another option as well. So it'll be really interesting to see what Treliving and the Leafs do here in this situation. Will they be willing to part with a first to bring in Chris Tanev, or do they think they could get a similar type defenseman for a little bit less value, or a younger defenseman for that first round pick? It'll be interesting to see what comes up here over the next few weeks leading up to trade deadline, but we'll keep you up to date on everything that's happening here around Toronto, around the league, coming up trade deadline. But I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think a first round pick is too much to give a guy like Chris Tanev, or do you think there are other options that they could do besides trading picks to bring this guy into Toronto for this year? But let me know down below. But with that said, we're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, and that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Dread. He says, because the Leafs don't have cap space or, a 2DP, the following may be the return. They say Toronto gets Tanev at 50% retained, and Calgary it's a third, Robertson and Liljegren. And I think in this hypothetical trade situation that Dredd has put in the comment section, I do think it is a little bit too much for Toronto to offer for a guy like Chris Tanev. I know you are getting him at 50% retained in this deal, but in my personal opinion, I really do think you have to keep a guy like Liljegren around. He's played so well for Toronto. He's worked his way up all the way from the East Coast League through the AHL and now cemented himself as an NHL defenseman. And I think this is a defenseman of the future for the Toronto Maple Leafs, a guy who's can consistently get third, maybe second pairing minutes here in Toronto and be a solid option back there. I think if you're Toronto in this situation, you kind of got to give up a few of your prospects. You don't need to give up top prospects like Easton Cowan or Fraser Minton, but you do have other prospects there that can be offered up in a trade like this. But let us know down below in the comment section, what do you think about Dred's hypothetical trade option? But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we're on the road for 3,000 subscribers, and really appreciate it if you went down, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the NHL, make sure to check out this video. It's popping up on your screen right now. And as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.